Shaun. Okay. Shaun. I actually forgot my name there for a split second. Shaun. Katie, Shaun. Do you remember Game of Thrones? Remember how turdish that ended? Remember how much of a dump David Benioff and D.B. Weiss took on George Martin's creations?
There were some okay moments.
No, there wasn't.
Okay.
Everything about that was terrible.
It was just rushed, wasn't it? That was.
Which is mad because it was 8 seasons. It was 8 seasons. Don't rush things in the 8th season.
You can't speak today, can you?
No. It's one of those off days that I have like every month. It's like my werewolf day, where I'm like.
You're in time of the month.
Yeah. What is that? I just scratched myself on the chest and I felt like I punched a hole in my chest. Right. Anyway, sorry. There's a new series, spin-off, House of the Dragon. It's called
Prequel. Prequel series.
Yeah. Which basically means I'm going to have to go back and reread Fire and Blood again, because every time they announce something about this, I reread it. I don't know anything about it, other than I've heard Matt Smith's in it.
I heard Matt Smith's in it.
I'm going to be buzzing about because he's a bloody brilliant actor is what he is.
Yeah. To be fair, I have heard bits about this, but I thought when this was first announced that it was going to be about, that it was going to start off with like Aegon the Conqueror and then just go like all the way to like the Dance of the Dragons, because you'd think they'd be like, well, yeah, let's do the history of the Targaryens and the history of
like 300 years worth of Targaryens.
Like House of the Dragon, it seems like that's what they would go down, but
who knows? Who knows? I guess let's watch it and see. We do know a little bit about Game of Thrones, but I fell out massively with Game of Thrones because of the way the 8th season ended.
I used to, I remember I read that history.
I used to absolutely love the lore of Game of Thrones, but then
the end annoyed you to the point where you just stopped.
Yeah, Jon Snow became a one-line wonder. His only line was, "She's my queen." Daenerys turned heel out of nowhere. You know, I mean, who knows? Jaime decided to be a complete Karen and go back on 7 seasons worth of character development.
Karen. Oh, God.
Honestly. And then you get to the Clegane Bowl and it's like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And then it isn't. How anusy is that? You know, they did that one thing where it was the clash of the 2 swords, and then the next thing you know, they're both dead. And it's like, oh, well. Brilliant.
It's a bit of an exaggeration.
It is. There's barely any actual fighting in it. He gets thrown around a little bit, then has a laugh, then he stabs him a bunch, and then he starts putting his fingers in his eyes, and he stabs him in the eye, and then he pushes him off. I watched it the other day because I was fuming about it. Anyway, that's 3 minutes of me ranting. This is the House of the Dragon official teaser trailer.
It comes out next year, doesn't it?
Something like that, yeah. Oh look, they've got the flowing white hair.
I wonder if they're going to do their violet eyes in this.
Bloody better. 200 years before.
Before the fall of the Thrones, isn't it?
Kings. Fire.
And blood.
And blood.
Ah! It's Matt Smith with blonde hair.
Dreams didn't make us kings.
Now that's...
Oh! That's the Iron Throne.
That's the Iron
That looked awesome. Good for them.
2022.
Damn you,
I mean, to be
HBO.
fair, the Iron Throne still isn't as big as what...
It's
still not as
to be.
tall as
Yeah,
it's supposed to be, but it's...
It still looked damn cool, didn't it? Let's go back and see if we can see it.
Just that, I looked at that and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that didn't give much away in the form of what Targaryen it's going to be. 200 years. Should I Google it, the cast names?
200 years prior. I feel like I've heard who they are, but there's so many...
House of the Dragon. Cast, let's have a look. Daemon Targaryen. That's who Matt Smith's playing. Paddy Considine is playing Viserys Targaryen. Emma Darcy is playing Princess Rhaenyra, I think.
Right.
See, this is why I should have reread the books before we watch this, because I would have been able to tell you who all these people are. But isn't it good to see Matt Smith in something big? I mean, I know he was in Doctor Who, which is...
Look at King's Landing. It's different from how it was in there.
Yeah.
It's not quite as grand as what it was in, like...
Look at his hair. Matt Smith suits like bright blonde hair, doesn't he?
Do you think?
Yeah. I think it looks cool as heck. Does she have...
She doesn't have violet eyes.
She doesn't have violet eyes, does she? Daemon Targaryen. That's a name that sounds like I should know what it is.
Yeah.
There's only one Daemon Targaryen, I'm pretty sure. So I think back here 200 years ago, they were still wedding brother sister.
Yeah, well, they did that right up until...
Aerys.
Aerys did it right up until...
Yeah, but they didn't all do it.
Well, no. It was the odd few that didn't. But... I'm trying to think of who Daemon is. I do recognise the name.
Shall I Google?
Is he not one of Jaehaerys' sons or something like that?
I will Google it. I know this is
Something like
cheating.
that. It's
Viewers.
I know, but...
Daemon Targaryen. He did have a dragon. Youngest son of Balon Targaryen.
No, okay, no then.
No, youngest brother. Prince, commander of the City Watch, master of coin, master of laws, prince of the Lord Fleabottom, he was called. Trying to find. So his father was Balon Targaryen, mother Alyssa Targaryen, played by Matt Smith. Being a younger son of Prince Balon Targaryen and a brother of King Viserys the First Targaryen. So, Viserys is who's being played by that guy that's always in Simon Pegg films. You know what I mean?
No.
He was one of the funny police officers with a moustache in Hot Fuzz. Doesn't matter. Shall we find out who he is? Because it sounds like Matt Smith's going to be playing the sort of the Tyrion.
Right.
Almost, and all like, do you know how sort of Tyrion was almost the main character, and everyone else was sort of not side characters, but they were the main plot, but he was the main character. Do you know what I mean? Like he was looking in on the main story, which didn't always involve him, but he was somehow still the main character because he saw it right through to the end, didn't he?
Okay.
Viserys the First Targaryen was the fifth Targaryen king to sit the Iron Throne. He succeeded his grandfather, the old King Jaehaerys, who was the good king. He was the good one. Prosperous peace and legacy of the grandsire, but the seeds for the civil war known as the Dance of the Dragons that would much later engulf the realm were inadvertently sown in his reign. Oh.
So I wonder if this is going to go right up to the Dance of the Dragons in this series.
It might be. Viserys was a dragon rider who rode Balerion until the dragon died of old age. So is that. I love Balerion. Isn't he just the coolest?
I want to see Balerion.
I think we do. I think we do see him.
I swear to God, if we see live action Balerion, I don't think.
I know. Drogon was cool and everything.
Drogon was big, but Balerion needs to just be an absolute monster.
Is that not him? This might begin with Balerion's funeral, I guess.
No, I want to see Balerion just absolutely.
That's menacing. That's
torching places.
That's scary, but it's so cool.
See, that's why I really wanted this to start with like Aegon the Conqueror, because I just wanted to see Balerion and like Raxus, and I just wanted to.
Daemon, I'm pretty sure, is the one who is part of the Dance of Dragons, isn't he? He must be.
There's a reason I recognise that name. I just can't exactly place why.
Dragons. But that's terrifying. That's like one of those pictures, right? You know, like when you see like sea creatures.
And you see like the size comparison.
Yeah, and not even that. When you see like a picture of someone. And someone like Photoshop a picture of like a giant shark in the background, and you can't see the shark, and it's fake obviously, but it's like just the thought is scary. Like that's scary. I think that's scary. Good job, whoever made this.
I just really want to see live action Balerion. That's the one thing I was hoping with this series when it was first announced.
If I was going to have Balerion, I couldn't have Balerion without Aegon.
Oh,
I don't care about whoever else rode Balerion. I would want to see Balerion and Aegon. But so if Aegon's on it, I don't want Balerion to be in it.
I wonder why they didn't do Aegon. Surely that's the story everyone would have
Because
wanted.
I feel like it would almost be a sort of like one of those things where you go, okay, who's going to play Aegon? No matter who it is, everyone's going to be like, he doesn't really look like Aegon. Oh, you know, I don't think he'd be a very good Aegon. I think it would be because there's just that much sort of. He's almost like a legendary figure at this point, isn't he?
Yeah.
Whereas, kind of like, you can't really taint him by putting an actor. I wouldn't want to be the actor that played Aegon.
Fair
Who
enough.
was the really bad king? Who was the really, really bad one? Maegor?
Was it?
Maegor the Cruel or something like that.
Yeah, was that not right after Aegon? Was that not
It was one of his...
Visenya, it was Visenya's son, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of his sons,
Yeah, but there was like...
Maegor. Is it Maegor?
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 It's something like that. I think that's the one you're thinking about, like Visenya's son, who's... Because
he wanted... horrible one.
It was one of the sons. It was like, he was technically older, so he was supposed to be... But then it's like...
It's actually...
He had another son, but
because
he
Visenya
named
was his second wife. He married him second. Married her second. No, he married them both together.
He married Visenya first, and he married...
Rhaenys
second, but he named Rhaenys' son the heir or something like that.
Yeah.
Something daft like that.
And Visenya was very nice.
Anyway, this is one of those things where like
it might not be actually.
I used to know all this, but...
Maegor or Maegor, whatever he was called. I'm pretty sure he was second, but the firstborn wasn't very strong. Like wasn't sort of.
Was it like that? Was it like that sickly one who only who only reigned for like. Yeah.
So then when what's his name?
This used to be one of those things
Maegor
where I could just tell
sound
you,
right.
but I can't remember.
The thing is, you could pretty much guess all of the Targaryen names, and one of them is close.
Most of them are repeated,
it's
not.
Maegor Targaryen? No, he doesn't sound right either. No, it wasn't him.
Is it not like
Aegon? Not Aegon. Aegon the Conqueror. Aegon the First. His son. What was his son called? That's all I need to know. So his son was Aenys. He was the Maegor. See, I thought it was Maegor. Maegor the Cruel. He was called. The Abomination on the Iron Throne. Yeah, you're right. It's interesting that they haven't started. I wouldn't have necessarily started with Aegon. I would have maybe started with like, I don't know, maybe like a good king. It does say there that Viserys the First is a good king.
Yeah.
But it's his reign that leads up to the Dance of Dragons.
Mm-hmm. See, either, but I would have liked to have seen Jaehaerys.
The First.
Mainly just because of that one thing with this, but because he's like established the Kingsguard. Just that one bit of like the Kingsguard like surrounding him and protecting him, like
against the army that was assembled before him.
Against all the Baratheons. Yeah.
He was Oris Baratheon and his mother, who was like, that's in the book. Yeah. That
would have just been awesome to see in live action. There's so many instances where it would have been cool, but I understand why it would probably be too hard to do that.
I just it's obviously clever. I would say if where the series is going to end is with the Dance of Dragons, then it's clever to show. Okay, so this is the throne at its good stage where it was Viserys.
Yeah.
But
like good stage, as good as we've seen it.
Yeah, not compared to say Aerys or Robert or Daenerys or Cersei or anything like that.
Yeah, but it's like I don't want to see the dragons die though. If we go all the way to Dance of the Dragon, that's going to be hard. I couldn't take when like the two dragons died in Game of Thrones.
How did the second dragon
Viserion
die?
and Rhaegal, he got
killed by the
Iron Scorpions, didn't he? That
which is just silly. Everything about that. What was he called? What was that guy called? What was he called? This really isn't showcasing our Game of Thrones knowledge.
No, it's been too long.
We haven't gone back and watched
Greyjoy.
Euron. Yeah, everything involving Euron after the point where he killed all of the Martells was just silly. That guy just should not have been in it anymore. That whole thing where Jaime kills him, but he somehow goes, "Oh yeah, I beat the Kingslayer." It's like, what are you talking about? Have we not got enough insane characters?
I want to see.
That's definitely Balerion, though. What do you want to see?
I want to see
What was that sword called? I feel like
What's
that's
that?
Aegon's sword. What was his sword called? Blackfire or something like that. Darkfire.
No, you think of Visenya's sword. Hers not Dark Sister or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like it's got the ring on as well with the Targaryen sigil on it. I can't.
There's not really much you can talk about because there's all these characters and obviously they're all Targaryens, but there's no way of identifying them.
Yeah, so I think this is. She's called Rhaenyra or something like that.
Right.
And it'll be Matt Smith's third wife. She's the youngest of the princesses, I think.
Oh. That's going to get really confusing.
Yep.
Figuring out who's related, who's not, and who's married who, and oh god.
So I don't ever think
Incest.
that. I don't know if it ever made it. If I read there, I don't know if he's Hand of the King. I don't think he is. I think he's Master of Laws.
No.
Master
You
of
saw
Coins.
someone with the Hand of the King pin. That wasn't him.
Yeah.
He was just Master of Coin, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I wonder who. Can you get his shield before he?
No, he doesn't show it, does he? That's got to be a high tower, though, surely. Because the high towers were very involved with. Look at the sword. That's a cool looking sword. That's a cool hilt.
Look at his armor, like all the dragon wings and stuff. And the scales.
This is how I imagine Rhaegar looking when he fought Robert on the Trident. See, I know stuff. Oh, good grief. Who are all of these people? They're all blonde, so I assume they're probably Targaryens? Can you see anything that gives anything away there? There's a big thing there. It also doesn't look as sort of as dark as
No.
it did in Game of Thrones. It looks a little brighter.
Are they not like the distant relatives of the Targaryens?
Probably. The Valyrians and stuff
yeah.
like that, yeah.
I mean, they're the only people I can think of that would be blonde and would resemble a Targaryen. Wonder if that's a Martell.
Probably.
Might be stereotyping, but that's pretty much all Game of Thrones
No,
is.
she looks like she's got spears for earrings. Like they look like, and the Martells would wear something like that. That's what I thought anyway. I thought they looked like spears.
And that is though the general gist of, you can pretty much look at, that's the dagger? Is that not Arya's dagger?
Looks similar. I would be surprised if it's the same dagger though.
No, but it's a Valyrian steel dagger, so it would make sense.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's
Yeah, you got.
if she's a Tully or something. Oh,
the Starks. Yeah, and that's the flayed man. That's Ramses. You gotta remember, you can remold.
I know, but it just looked too similar for it to not be the same one.
Oh, what's that? Red Archers. That's Sunspear. That's the Martells.
And you got the Lannisters there, isn't that?
Yep, Lannisters. Arrow. I couldn't see it. Oh, thank God it's not Matt Smith. If Matt Smith dies in this series, I will not be happy.
Kings.
It looks darker there.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the way the throne looks.
Like all the melted swords going down
Yeah.
the steps.
Like, I
That's
wonder
so
what
cool.
if they're going to try and explain why these weren't in Game of Thrones.
Maybe it's been daft, like one of the Targaryens tripped and fell on them or something.
Dragons.
Or
Like
actually, there
childproof
was a king who supposedly was killed by
because of the throne, yeah.
Because he had...
Well, no, it wasn't. Didn't he do it deliberately? Didn't he slit his own wrists
Well,
on the swords?
they reckon he killed himself because he had the things going through his hands and stuff, and one in the back of his neck. But there was people saying he was murdered, killed himself, and then the actual throne killed him. That might have actually been Maekor the Cruel. There was definitely quite an early king who that happened to.
Did.
That's a cool line, though.
What did he say?
Dragons did.
Yeah.
That's it.
Dreams didn't make us kings. Dragons did.
That is really cool. Yeah, I'm excited. Got to wait all the way till 2022 to see it, though.
I just wonder.
As long as they protect Matt Smith with their heart, I don't care.
I know, but this is Game of Thrones. Probably everyone's going to die. I wonder if they're going to follow the same formula that Game of Thrones followed.
I shouldn't get attached to characters, should I? I've
We
been down this road
learned
before.
that from season 1 of Game of Thrones, Shaun.
I know.
And Ned Stark got his head cut off.
I know. Literally every time I got attached to a character, they died. Until the end, when I got fully attached to Game of Thrones, and it died with a whimper.
But yeah, I wonder if it's going to follow the same structure. So they're going to do like the 10 episodes. The 9th one is when like all hell breaks loose, and the 10th one.
I don't think that was necessarily a formula. They were just following the books.
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean, like that's kind of that's a structure the series followed. You knew came season episode 9 that you were just going to get your head blown off.
Oh, who knows? Who knows? It might not even be 10 episodes. But I'm looking forward to it. It bloody better be.
But there's just... it didn't even show you any of the dragons.
Well, it showed you Ballerion's face. Like, I'm absolutely
who you
positive.
assume that was Balerion,
I'm positive that was
but it
Balerion.
didn't actually show you any dragons.
There's not many like, if that was Smaug's head there, I wouldn't nearly been as sort of stiff with fear as I was there. Because that was, like, that's a really cool shot of him. I'm going to try and find it again. I can't get over how cool that shot is. You only need to see his giant mouth and that sort of
outline.
Tiny outline.
I wonder how the size of that in relation to a person. Because that's the big moment. Because Drogon was big. He was the biggest of the 3 dragons, and he was quite
not
big.
Not Balerion size.
But Balerion was like the largest dragon.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna have a dragon called the Black Dread, you've got to make him look cool. That's a bit like Aegon. It's like I pity the fools who had to design this dragon to make him so scary, because he better look I mean, that looks terrifying, but he better look terrifying. Yeah. If we see like an actual shot of him. If that's all we see of him, then I'll be fine, because that's quite scary.
I know. I just even all the other dragons, because all of those. The point that I got from the 3 dragons in Game of Thrones was that they were still young and they were still growing. They would have still lived to get bigger. Yeah, they would have got huge. So it's like, obviously these dragons, because like Daenerys, like she trapped 2 of them up so they like didn't grow as big and stuff like that. So it's like these dragons have to be like, to make twice the size, and then Balerion has to be like 10 times the size. So, you know, I want to see just a massive shot of just a dragon like flying over King's Landing or something.
That's assuming now that we actually see him.
I want to see Balerion. That's all. The minute they announced this show, all I've said I wanted is just to see a live action Balerion. That's all I've wanted.
I just hope they don't ruin it, because Game of Thrones has got some of the most ridiculously detailed and cool lore that there is. They could make any series they want, and it's like, if this is the first of many to come, I want it to be good. Matt Smith's in it, so I'm assuming that it's going to be good, but because the man's a damn national treasure. But I hope it's not. I hope it doesn't follow from what Game of Thrones did.
I doubt it would.
Game of Thrones stabbed me right in the heart.
I'm just wondering as well how close it is going to follow the source material.
Oh, I think it will.
But do you think it's going to be a case of like, because I saw some stuff on like Instagram and stuff, people say, well, maybe they're going to say like the books is like a history book, and so it's not 100% accurate. They might change some stuff.
Well, to be fair, the book itself, Fire and Blood, is written from a maester's point of view.
Yeah.
So it might not necessarily follow it, but I think they'll trust in George Martin's writing enough. They'll probably they might change like the odd character a little bit, but they'll not ridicule the source material, because they saw that the backlash that they got from
Game of Thrones.
8 and 7 of Game of Thrones, where it was like, we aren't happy with what you've done to George Martin's vision. Maybe the same with this. But I think like, with this, they've got a bit more freedom, I think. Because in the book, it does sort of explain a few bits and bobs, key events, but it doesn't tell you everything. So there is stuff that you can sort of imagine, think for yourself.
Yeah. And I guess as well, though, I mean, like, if there's one... Just the scale of it, like, if they are, like we say, going to go from now up until the Dance of the Dragons, to, like, hopefully they don't do what Game of Thrones did and try and condense it down into too few seasons.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully it just lasts, like...
Well, I think HBO will just throw money at this. They'll just throw all of their money at this and just say, do you know what, the first few seasons of Game of Thrones were really popular. Follow the source material. Here's all of our money. Make us money, and it will. Game of Thrones still has a lot of money in its name. But that was our opinions and our not so very good knowledge. It used to be better, I promise, but now it's, like I say, it's bad.
So you're going to go away and you're going to, like, reread the books and remind yourself of all the stuff you forgot.
So then
and you'll be so annoyed at watching this over.
So when we're watching it, I'll be sitting there going, that didn't happen. But yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments. Are you excited to see Matt Smith? You bloody better be. Then tell us what you think will happen. What format do you think the series will go for? Who do you think the main characters will be? Tell us about all your super awesome knowledge about the Targaryen family. Who's your favourite king? Or queen? Is there another queen apart from Daenerys?
Yeah.
No. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Who?
There was another queen, I can't remember her name. She was like, it was during the Dance of the Dragons.
Oh yeah, but she was only queen because
her
husband was the king.
She was a Targaryen. She was.
I'm joking,
Yeah.
I'm joking.
It was something like she married. It was something like she married one of her uncles, but she was technically, her dad was like the king, so she was. I'm sure it's something like that. It was something daft.
Targaryens, who knows? Then like the video, subscribe, ding the bell, notified when we upload. We upload every day. Anything else you want to say?
I really I'm annoyed at myself now that I can't remember any stuff about Game of Thrones.
I know, me
There's
too.
a time I would have known all this.
I know. There would have been a time where we could have just looked at that candle and just gone, I know exactly what year this is in Game of Thrones. But whatever. Thank you for watching.
I need to know.